What's up, guys? We are back for another Marvel Legends review, taking a look at another figure in that Caliban Build-A-Figure wave. So today we've got SKULLBUSTER up on deck, one of the Reavers from years past. So we've got him here in our standard Marvel Legends packaging. You can see him there in the window. We have got the logo down there on the bottom for the X-Men, and then we've got SKULLBUSTER artwork on the side, wrapping around to the back with a bit of a bio, and then a lineup for our wave and Build-A-Figure. So let's do it. Let's pull him out and take a look. All right, guys, here he is out of the package, our SKULLBUSTER figure from the Reavers. This has got to be the figure that I was least interested in out of the entire wave. Not because I don't want the figure, just because this is a pretty heavy hitter wave, and he doesn't really do a lot for me. But honestly, this is a really fun toy, and this is a pretty fun figure. So, yeah, we're probably firing on all cylinders when it comes to this particular wave of X-Men, which is not a bad thing. So let's get started, take a look at this guy, see how he moves around. We definitely know we've got some parts reused from Deathlock, but this figure's pretty standard, nothing too crazy I don't think we're going to find. So the head can go backwards about that far, goes down not at all. There is nothing there. His chin hits his big fat neck immediately. Then the head can swivel. Arms go out. They do rotate, but you do have shoulder pads on either side that will stop you. Bicep swivel. We've got double jointed elbows, so it gets you about that far up. And then we've got rotation and hinge at the wrist. We have got a crunch. It's really well hidden. If you weren't looking, if you didn't try to move it, you might not even notice that it's there. It looks just like a wrinkle or a pleat in the shirt, which is really cool. So it goes backwards, and then he goes forwards really far. You do have a waist twist. Legs go out. They kick forward and backward. You've got a thigh cut, double jointed knees. You've got a boot cut in there. Whew. And then we've got rocker, and we've got hinges down there at those ankles. So he moves around, you know, pretty par for the course when it comes to a Legends. The only real hindrance that I can see is around the head for this guy, but otherwise he moves around pretty nice for a figure that is of slightly larger than average size. As far as the overall look and feel of this figure, this guy's pretty interesting just because of the fact of where all of his parts come from. And I say all of his parts because honestly, I didn't realize exactly how much parts reuse was going on with this figure. It is almost everything being reused from Deathlock. The only things that are not the same are his jacket and his head. Everything else is the exact same. Even the torso is the same. It's got the spot in here for the little cable that hits Deathlock's chest, as well as the spot for the US flag in there as well. That's emblazoned on Deathlock's chest. So, you know, that's just, I guess, poor research on my part, I suppose. But I just thought that it was mostly the arm and the legs. I didn't even pay attention to the hand until I had started really playing around with him and looking at him, and it's like, oh my, these are the same figure. So it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I guess kudos to Hasbro for getting your money out of that Deathlock mold. We knew they were going to. It's just a question of how they did it. And I think they picked a good way to do it because he does look really cool. You know, even if he doesn't necessarily look 100% the way he maybe should in some instances, I think he very much fits the bill. Not to mention the fact that he just looks like a cool figure. And that's really what it comes down to for me, is that he just looks like a cool figure. So, you know, you've got the mechanical legs here, which is all sculpted. It's all of a matte finish though, and then you've got the cybernetic kind of hands, that arm as well, which is also all sculpted, and then you've got the black shirt in here, which is, it's got a lot of sculpted detail in there, but a lot of it's kind of lost just because it's all black. You do have a holster for his gun, which is already there. We've got a belt with no paint, and then we have got the black cybernetic kind of boots, the mechano boots down there. But he does have this jacket, and I guess the jacket's new. It doesn't ring any bells for me. You know, someone will let me know for sure if I'm wrong. I say it every time. That's not my forte when it comes to Legends, is piecing together that kind of stuff. But it's got the spikes, and it's got, you know, this, whatever this is, this hubcap over here on his left side on your right. But it's got a little bit of detail on it. There's a knife in there. We've got a magazine in there, and some paint on it as well. Not to mention the bandolier, which is fully covered in bullets, which has a decent amount of paint on it for what it is. So he looks pretty cool. I mean, he's just got a very unique look, while at the same time being very much not unique when you put him up against Deathlock. The head sculpt here I am very much a fan of. So you've got this all black head sculpt, which has no hair, but it's got the skull paint on the front with the little crack in there. That is not sculpted, it's painted. And there is a little bit of shading in there to make it look like it's kind of a crevice in the head almost. And then you've got those white teeth down there and some red eyes. So it looks pretty good. You can see that this sort of looks like he's kind of applied war paint to his face. So it's not really clean and crisp, and it's not, I don't think it's supposed to be that way either. So don't assume that it's kind of a splotchy paint job. I'm fairly certain this is intentional, and I think it looks good. He very much does not look like a happy camper. It's a pretty plain head sculpt. I mean, there's really not a whole lot going on here, but the idea behind this character comes through very, very well because of how they've done this. Of course, because I mentioned how much he has reused from Deathlock, I have to show him side by side, just so maybe the folks out there who are like me, didn't really pay a lot of attention, realize exactly how similar they are. So everything from the waist down is the same, this arm is the same, this arm is the same, the chest is the same. The only differences are that SKULLBUSTER has the jacket, Deathlock has the backpack, and then of course they've got different heads. Otherwise, they are the same figure, so they achieve very, very different looks with these for sure. I mean, this is clearly Deathlock's look, but it comes through really well with SKULLBUSTER. Again, he may not look 100% like this all the time, but I'd say kudos to Hasbro again for getting some money and some mileage out of that body. Now, as far as accessories go, and speaking of how similar he is to Deathlock, we do have a gun here, which is the same gun that we have with Deathlock. So this is done up in kind of a army green color, no paint on it whatsoever, but this is the small handgun that Deathlock comes with. Obviously not the monstrous minigun that he comes with, or you know, anything like that. But it's a nice sculpt, futuristic, techie kind of gun, and it fits in his holster just fine, as you've seen throughout this video. But we do have the extra head sculpt here as well. So if you're someone out there who wants to start building the Reavers, you have a way to do that because they gave us an extra head. And this is not an extra SKULLBUSTER head. This is a Marie Reese head. I don't know that it really works on this body 100%. I think it's well enough. I'm almost interested enough to get a second SKULLBUSTER just to have it. But a lot of folks are using like the Nuke body for this head. I think that body is a little too big personally. I also don't really have much that I can use this head for. I can't think of any figures off the top of my head that I have just laying around that would fit the look here. So I'm not even going to try. But the head sculpt is pretty nice. It's pretty plain. It's just a normal head, normal guy with some red hair and a scar on his face with a helmet over him, but that's Marie Reese's look. He's got that clear glass, plastic, whatever it is, dome that sits over top of him with the headset and mic. So it comes across really well, and again, this is kind of like that Lilandra thing with Professor X. They're giving us another way to build a figure that we probably won't get from Hasbro ever. I don't see us ever getting a Marie Reese. So overall, this is a really cool figure. There's nothing for me to say negative about this guy. For the figure that I was honestly interested in the least, he is a great action figure. It's a cool design. I mean, I'm already partial to this body just because I like Deathlock to begin with, so it's got that look already, and it very much works for SKULLBUSTER. Again, we do have a tremendous amount of parts reuse, but I can't fault him for going this route because how many other characters can use that body, really? I just think that they did a good job in general transforming that body into something that looks different enough that they can kind of get away with it. Not to mention the fact that we get the extra Marie Reese head, so that kind of sweetens the deal a bit as well. So, you know, maybe this is the figure that not everybody cares about. I'm not so sure. He's definitely not a heavy hitter like a lot of other folks in this wave, but this is not one to sleep on. I think a lot of folks will have a great deal of fun with SKULLBUSTER here. So that's going to do it for this look at the Marvel Legends Caliban Wave SKULLBUSTER figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.